I think the problem tonight is on Twitch's side. So I think we've got good internet. We are check the stream or our signal. Me and James actually talk to each other on Skype, so Skype is working fine. So I do apologize. Um, I think, can everybody hear us? It hadn't come back on the.
You were back on for a second, but it's dead on my screen again. Now I can see the top of your head.
What a shot to finish there with. Hey, it's the top of his head.
That's not a moon.
That's not a moon. I need to eat at Joe's on the top or something. But
just get a CAV tattoo.
All right, we're loud and clear. Okay, so let's move to the new minis in case everything explodes. We can go to the new minis. So first off, let's show. You're gonna lose. We're gonna go off the screen for a minute, James. But we're gonna show because I got a nice big picture to put on. So, and I think we'll turn off our logo so that you can see the tank. Okay, so these are actually production samples from the new machine that we are going to. They are a little lighter colored than will be a little darker as more like the last Kickstarter, the color gray that we use. But this is pictures. This is pictures of actual production figures. What do you think, James?
I mean, I can see the detail in that that Cobra.
Yeah.
And it looks exactly like the 3D printed one from here. I'm sure up close it's probably even better. That Taseki 2. I think that's what that
Yep.
is, right? The airplane, is that the 2?
That's the 2.
It looks just like the resin one. The scale's the same. You've got them there in the house, right? It's exactly the same size
same
as the resin
scales,
one.
exact same ones.
I'm telling you what, I'm very excited. The idea that you'll be able to make these in the building there is fantastic.
Yeah, and the Despot is going to be, that's the Despot B, which is an updated model. I mean, you'll be able to use it for whatever, but and here in a minute we're going to go live with some, and I'll show you some of the stuff that goes along with these figures. But I want to give everybody a nice, good time to look up close to see the detail that we're going to have with these. There is very minimal, if at all, any kind of flash or mold lines. The only thing that I did to these is I cut off anywhere that the sprue touched the figure. Other than that, I didn't mess with any mold lines or anything. So I'm very impressed. I mean, I had seen samples before that they had provided us, but nothing that was actually our stuff. So we sent them these files, and they produced them and sent those back to us. They were supposed to send me multiple sets so that I could send a few out to some people to get some reviews and some feedback on. Unfortunately, they just sent me one set, so we are waiting to get some more in. So we'll be doing that. So let's go. Now that we've looked at these, let's go over to our live.
Drum roll.
And why is our lighting so bad?
It's very blue.
Well, I think the camera went to sleep on me. Come on, Mike, come back. All right, hold on just a minute here, and
or your white balance is just out of whack.
Well, I think it's the camera hasn't been broadcasting. I think let me move my light. Live minute. always got to be something, you know?
Yeah, John, turns out those people that make movies and TV shows get paid for a
I
reason.
know. Like, it's like they, just a second, we're going to reset the camera. That'll fix that. Fix a little bit. Oh. All right, it's getting a little better. Let's see here if we can. Come up with our.
Yeah, it's buffering on my end. There it's
It
back. Looks
is.
a little whiter now.
Yeah, it's. What a pain. See if we add. See if we can add a light it up here a little bit. Usually we haven't had any, because this is my. Expand.
Well, this is what they call vamping, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk briefly about what this new production process is going to do for us. I mean, these models that you see here, John will be able to make those.
Yes.
That and so, I mean, the big deal is John will be able to take his files that Chris makes and maybe other modelers and take and get a mold made. He did mention earlier that he was going to have a mold making area. I hadn't realized he was going to make molds there in house. I thought he would have to third party that
Nope.
out.
Nope.
That looks really good, John.
Yeah. No, we're going to. Yeah, I changed a couple of things. So, yeah, we'll actually be doing our own molds in house. So, like I said, we'll be able to actually get to a monthly release schedule. Will be a lot more easier to come out with new stuff and talk about where we're at and what we're doing here. So let me kind of go over, and I'm going to show you some things about the models. And these are actually this is the same material that our stuff will be made from. So where's the best way to there? Where's the front of this thing here? That's front. Okay. My camera's kind of got a weird angle here. So it's what is called a thermoplastic resin. So it has some of the qualities of plastic as far as what it can do, but since it has a resin component to it, it really keeps the details sharp. So here is the plane, and you can see me kind of flexing. There's not a lot of give to it. I mean, if you mess with the Giuseppe one at all, you could touch that wing back up to the top. So it's actually got snap to it. I mean, of course you can't hear it and see it through all here, but so another good example here is the tank. Obviously, we all have had our experiences with some of the barrels, with some of the guns, and having to do the side of it. But so you can see we have nice straight barrels. And again, it's got a little bit of give to it, but it snaps. It pops back. There's no going back slow or anything. So I don't think that it's as stiff and as hard as styrene, but like I said, you can see our barrels.
Stream is buffering again.
Not a lot of give. I see. I know. It comes and goes. We keep talking.
Yeah.
All right. What is the time frame from file to physical model here, and how long does it take to print these versus the old models? Literally, if we decide on a Monday that we are ready to put a new model in production, we will be running it by Friday. So 5 days. because we'll do
Nice.
everything in house. We produce our own masters in house. We'll produce our own molds. Um, I know we're breaking up. It's on Twitch's end. I wish I could have a magic fix. So we're going to try to fight through it here after it buffers some more. He says. Yeah, it's trying to work through it again. All right, so we're caught up. So we're hopefully you're seeing stuff 10 minutes after I did it. Here are some figures that got ran in it too to show. You can see here this nice thin sword. Again, it's got give to it, but it snaps back. So, and we're not going to do anything that thin, but you can just see, I mean, even at that, it's a nice straight sword. Here's another one. Again, very thin blade. James, you've actually seen these samples.
Yeah.
So again, you can see it's got a little snap to it. Here's a bow, very, very thin. And what's nice, I mean, talking about the detail, you can actually see the wood pattern. You can, I'm sure, but if you had the figure in your hand, you can actually see the wood pattern in the bow. So, but again, it's got a little bit of snap. So with that being said, here's one of the differences that you are going to see. This is a piece of sprue material here. Because it is, it's got, yeah, it's kind of between Kickstarter 2 and 3. I don't know that that's the best way to do it because it's closer to 3 than it is 2, but it's not nearly as hard as 3. But the detail, I think, is better with the deal. But what you're going to find out here with these, let me move these so that we have a little more of a white surface. That it does break. So here is a sprue that we've got, and here's a small sprue that came off of it that went to one of the figures. So you'll see here, it will break. So it's not bad, but it's something that you'll have to pay a little more attention to. That you'll need to watch out for. Obviously, the thicker it is, because you can see here how thick this is here. This has got no bend to it at all, hardly, and it's not breaking. I mean, it's just the real thin thing. So you'll have to watch that too. But again, Kickstarter 3 stuff will break. So big deal. The good thing though is we get back to some of the properties that we lost with that is you can carve the stuff. It's very easy to take a blade to it and cut it. So if you have to clean up lines, if you're trying to shave stuff on there, you can see that it, as I chop my finger off here, but it's not nearly as hard to cut. So we're getting back to making it a little easier to do mods, which is good. So you can see it just peels up kind of like so. And this is a pretty dull knife actually. So no, they don't really click. You have a little bit of, I don't know if you can hear that there as I do a little shaking up by the mic. It has a little bit of click, I think more so than what you would see in what there. So
I I've held and touched those fantasy models that John has there, and the material feels great. It's crisp. It's got good detail. It's firm. It's not super flexible. I think it's going to paint up just
Oh yeah,
fantastic.
oh yeah,
Uh,
and it gets some of that the bones. You know, after you clean it, you wash it up. It's like the original. You can paint directly to it. Again, it's going to be a little water phobic. So if you've got your paint real thin down, you want to do that. But I always recommend anything that you always primer it. I think that you'll have a little better luck with primers. I don't think that you'll have. Um, I haven't tested it with a lot of the others, but I don't think that you'll have some of the problems with PVA with this stuff like you do with PVA and primer. So I think that
mhm.
that'll be a little better. Um, but oh yeah, no, I'm looking at, well, like I said, when we get our other samples in and we send them out, some of our painters are going to be getting some of them. So we'll get some feedback from the painters as well. Um,
Is this new process going to affect the packaging, the retail
nope,
packaging at all?
no, price wise, packaging wise, you're not going to see any changes.
Okay,
Well,
nice.
the Kickstarter 3 models clink because of the bases. The bases are actually ABS plastic. What you hear the clinking is ABS plastic. So some of the 3D terrain um, and the bases on those are actually ABS and not PVC. So that's what you hear clinking in there. The actual PVA, you don't get that much of a clink with that I think.
So give me, I've not had the opportunity to paint any of it yet, but it actually, to me, it feels a little bit harder than Bones Black. Um, I would describe it as it's comparable in terms of its stiffness. John showed you that barrel. Maybe you weren't here. He was demonstrating the flexibility of the barrel in that tank of a few minutes ago, and I think it's quite stiff. The fantasy model John had up earlier, the knight with the sword sticking out to his side, that thing's quite thin, and it holds its shape, and it when you bend it, it comes right back to where it was. I think it's good.
Well, but you can't bend it. Bend it. I mean, you cannot go. If you go far enough, it will break. I mean, it's obviously got a lot more give to it than other um, plastic. Like it's not nearly as brittle as styrene, but you can go to a point that it will break. Um, and just so that if you're not aware of this, Kickstarter 3 is Bones Black material. Okay, we actually uh, when we did our Enforcer, that was the first time that plastic process was used. After Reaper saw how that turned out, they moved some of their stuff over into that process, and that's where Bones Black came from. So if you got anything from the Enforcer on, that is the Bones Black material. Uh, so if you bought anything that's late Templar and the Banshee and all that, it's the same stuff. It's still PVA. It's just a higher durometer. Um, but will they be packaged differently? No. I don't know if they're going to. I mean, as far as they're still going to be in the on the blister cards and blisters, we may do them in individual pieces, like you see with Kickstarter 3, or you may see them on small sprues, like you see some of the stuff with Kickstarter 2, just to make it easier for us to keep things together. It's just going to be a process that we're going to have to learn. This has better detail than the Kickstarter 3 stuff or Bones Black, and it has some flexibility to it. But like I said, you know, you see on this piece here that's, you know, basically a 1/4 inch thick or whatever. I mean, it just doesn't. I mean, I'm putting quite a bit of pressure on there, and I can't get it to break. But if I tried to do the same thing to the barrel of this tank, it would snap off. if I, but I mean, it's got enough give to it that it's not going to just, you can drop it, drop it on the ground. Here's a nice 3-foot drop for you. So, it's not going to break from normal deal, but by the same token, if you put it in your box and set a 10-pound weight on it, you're going to come back and find a lot of broken parts. But I don't think I think boiling will be a thing of the past. As we run out of figures, we'll be updating them and moving them over to the new material. So right now, there's no need to go back and do everything that we've already done. The Tuseki 2 will be coming out, and that'll basically be replacing the Tuseki 1. Same thing with the Despot B, things like that. As we're running out of figures, we'll update them with the new material, and there'll be new sculpts, updated sculpts. So, and we're back buffering. Yay! We had a good run there for a minute.
Yeah.
So we're back. All right, we're back. Yay. Okay, so we've got 5 minutes. Let's try to answer some questions before James has to turn into a pumpkin. So
Pumpkin James.
Yeah. This is your chance. We have 5 minutes. Hopefully we won't buffer out. They're typing. I know they're typing. I can hear it. The little clicking.
You can hear it. Clickety click, 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 click.
He's got paragraphs.
So when do we get custom emotes for the channel?
Well, I actually worked on that a little bit the other day. I'm still trying to come up with ideas. So maybe if you guys have ideas for what kind of emotes that we need to see on a CAV channel, drop that on my Facebook page, on the CAV Facebook page. Give me some ideas. Oh, we just dropped.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but the screen is like showing stuff from 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, well, because it's buffering. So I'm assuming that maybe they're hearing our volume right now, and then the pictures are showing up. So either that or they're asking questions of stuff I said 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. The most important CAV questions ever are happening right now.
Yes, and we don't see them. We should be, if they type something, we should see it right away, but they may not be. So it says we're still live, so we're still broadcasting. It just we've dropped some frames apparently. Oh, gotta love it, gotta love it. So can you guys hear us right now, or are you listening to us talking 5 minutes ago? Which is fine. If you do, you'll catch up. You'll see it when we're done, when we're gone. It'll be there. Hopefully it should have recorded, and I will, when I put it up on YouTube, you should get our version without the buffering.
That'll be fun. I'll have to go back and listen to this one.
Yeah. So, all right. So I'm going to assume that since we are not seeing anything from anybody, that they are watching us from 10 minutes ago. So let's call it a night, James. It's almost time to go. And I apologize, folks. I'm not going to take the bullet on this one because it's not my fault. It's Twitch's fault. So have a great night. Saturday, 2:00 Central Time. Chris will be back to finish up the Kodiak, and then I'll be back Tuesday night with Terrain. So take care. We'll see you later.
Good night, everyone.